on any given day, 3 things are going to break in your car wash. So anything you can do to limit that is essential. You have to be on top of that and doing your checks consistently. As soon as you stop watching cars come out the exit of the tunnel, an issue is going to happen.
Hi, and welcome to Ask the Expert, a series where we talk with operators and industry professionals about the operational side of running successful car washes. I'm Dan St. Jacques from Hoffman Innovated, and today our guest is Shane Robb, Operations Director of Sudzy Salmon in Alaska. Shane oversees multiple express tunnel locations operating in one of the most challenging climates in the industry. In this conversation, we talk about what it takes to run high-performing washes across multiple sites, how Shane approaches wash quality and preventative maintenance, and the operational practices his team uses to keep their site performing every day. So let's go ahead and get into it.
Well, Shane, thanks so much for joining us. I guess, the obviously kind of I think the most obvious place to start here is if you could just start by walking us through your background and how you ended up, at Sudzy Salmon and where you are now.
Absolutely. So I started my career down in Arizona, originally from Alaska, and moved down there to go to school and picked a job up across the street from my apartment while in college and decided I really liked car washing. So spent a couple years as a CSA, really worked on sales there. Then the company started investing in me, gave me some management training, some leadership training, maintenance training, and got to run a sales team. Did a pretty good job at that. And then as the company started expanding, a new site opened up. They gave me the management spot for that. I did that for a couple years and then successful in that position. And I was training some other sites and helping to do some grand openings. So then I got kicked down to Southern Arizona. I got to be a district manager for a couple years. And then during that time frame, we got bought out by a larger company, and they had some spaces across the rest of the country. So I got shipped over to New England and worked out there for a year. And then from there, I got moved on to the Midwest and worked there for a year. And then I decided I wanted to come back home where I was originally from. And after moving for different states in 4 years and popped up to Alaska, and now I've been with Sudzy Salmon for the last 3 years.
You've had a chance to move across car washes in all the climates too, so you've had pretty good exposure there, geographically at least, in terms of the different challenges that you see in those different areas. And I think we'll circle back to that in a little bit. But if you could also just give people who are watching a sense, they may not know exactly sort of the structure of Sudzy Salmon and how many locations you have, what those sites look like, and just kind of give them the lay of land for Sudsy as well.
Absolutely. So we have 6 locations up here in Alaska. We have all of them are express tunnels. Some are on the smaller side, not small, but 90-foot tunnels. And then we have them ranging all the way up to our Midtown location, which is a double tunnel that is 180 feet of washing area in each one of those tunnels. It is one of the largest ones in the nation.
So when you look at these sites, I think, what is it, from your perspective, what does it take to consistently run a high-performing wash, and especially when you're looking across locations? So how do you consistently perform, and how do you repeat that across those locations? What kind of things do you see that help that in that process?
So, just what you said, it's consistency. It's doing the same things day in and day out, having the checklist, doing our tunnel checks constantly. So in my position, I'm able to see a car wash once a week, sometimes twice a week, and I'm going to go and do checks every time that I'm there. In a manager's position, they need to be doing their tunnel checks at least multiple times a day, watching cars leave our tunnel, check-in wash quality at least a couple times a day. And then we have supervisors that are doing tunnel checks every 2 hours just to make sure that our quality doesn't drift. Because as you go through the day, our temperatures change, different kinds of dirt are coming in from different cars. We just know things drift. So setting ourselves back to the baseline. After we set that standard, we want to be on that standard at all times.
And so when you see, if you're in there, you're inspecting, you see wash quality is slipping somewhere in there in what you're looking at. What's your first step when you're looking at diagnosing that issue as you see something that's not the results that you would expect out of your wash?
So doing a tunnel walk. First thing, I'm going to be checking the cars leaving, making sure that we are producing a good product. And once that's not there, there's a lot of different things we can see. So just from my years of experience, I can kind of tell you pretty fast. It looks like it's a chemistry thing or a friction thing. And those are going to be the first two areas I'm going to go to. So usually it's right into the tunnel. I'll try and grab a manager or somebody else with me just so I'm not doing everything by myself so they can get some eyes on it, see what I'm seeing. And then I'm going to find out where my trouble point is, whether I have a wrap that's not engaging properly or I got a pre-soak that's just not fanning out properly. And from that part, then we'll move on to what we need to do to correct the issue.
Are there maintenance practices that you have that you've seen have kind of had the biggest impact on uptime, on consistency, on just, preventing you from being in a reactive state? How important and what role really does the equipment reliability play in both sort of the customer experience, but also in helping your team not have to be in a situation where, like you're saying, there's going to be something that goes down, but hopefully it's one or two things versus 12 things that are happening just because the equipment's not reliable. So, again, from a reliability standpoint, how does that help your team and your customer experience?
Oh, it gives them peace of mind. If we're worried about things in our tunnel, then we're not going to be as worried about our customers. I mean, we basically run a production facility that we invite customers in, and it has to at least all be looking right. And we really want it to be functioning right so we can produce the quality cars that we want to see. And some points in the year, you can get away with things not running quite exactly right because the cars aren't as dirty. But as we get into our peak season and breakup and everything, we have to be firing on all cylinders. Otherwise, that's a huge focus for us. And we have a maintenance team that's going to run out there and address those things right away if our managers don't have the resources at hand to take care of it.
For your sites themselves, have you seen any upgrades, changes that you've seen have had the biggest impact on either ROI or customer satisfaction or both those categories? Is there something you can point to that say, these couple of things have made the biggest business impact for us?
I would say making sure we're checking our chemical draws on a daily basis. I know there's a lot of times where, hey, we're doing our checks and it's harder to make sure we're getting good suction out of our Versatile or our chem dispensing boards. And they sometimes will fall off of doing that. But if they're checking that every single day and they notice as soon as we have a drop in part of our chemistry, just to hop right on that and fix it, it makes a huge difference having the right chemistry going.
And so, I mean, you obviously, like we mentioned earlier, you working across different geographic areas, different regions. How do chemistry and water management factor into cleaning results, and how do you approach those differently in those different climates? How have you seen that approach change across those areas?
Oh, 100%. So water reduction was huge when I was down in the Southwest, right? Where limited water, it's a little bit more expensive. We're trying to get down to 15 gallons a car if we can run 15 gallons a car. That's pretty good water consumption. And I'll tell you, for the first 8 years of my career, I thought I was a decent car washer until I moved to actual difficult climates to wash cars. Washing sunshine off is quite different. I didn't know as much about equipment calibration and chemistry beforehand. We had another chemical company that would come in and kind of do some of those things for us, and I'd see it. But if you back then asked me to tell you what the different stages of chemistry were in a car wash, I'd be like, it's soap. It just kind of hits the car, and then we have some finishing products. It's good. But actually moving to more difficult regions to wash cars, we have to pay attention to how our high pH is working, how our low pH is working, and then how the finishing products are actually adhering to the vehicle, where Southwest was kind of easy mode, set it and forget it.
So along that same line, when you think about either other operators that you come in conversation with or people that are coming in and, working under you, working for you, is there something that you see consistently that people underestimate about running a car wash, the day-to-day portions of that they're just underestimating how much goes into it, or, how much care they have to take within certain areas?
So equipment focus is kind of what I said before. Like, we're going to have three things break in the car wash. You have to be on top of that and doing your checks consistently. As soon as you stop watching cars come out the exit of the tunnel, an issue is going to happen. And you have to be right on top of that. For people wise, running high volume locations, it just takes a lot of energy. People don't realize like how much you have to be pouring into your team constantly and being out there, giving the directions, just move people around and constantly be praising people and complimenting them for the good effort that they're putting in, and doing those slight redirects when they're not quite doing things exactly how you want. But you just got to roll that out in a positive way.
So for your approach to labor itself, are there places that you see provide the most value for you for taking team members, putting them in different positions? Obviously, you want to give them exposure to different places, but is there a place where there's more of an area of focus for you to keep people, to keep employees there, to provide kind of that better customer experience, or, the things that you get better feedback for when you have more employees in those areas?
Well, absolutely. So we'll talk about the central locations, right? Number one, we always have to have someone in the tunnel giving direction. I know there's some self-loading car washes out there. I've run self-loading car washes before and done it successfully in New England, but we can hit higher numbers when we have someone actually directing the customers in there. They're going to have better customer engagement, give that customer a smile. They're going to trust the system a lot better. It's another touch point. The other most critical one is working the kiosk. I mean, I think we've all learned in the industry that kiosks don't sell memberships by themselves. They don't upgrade wash packages by themselves. You have to have someone out there greeting our customers, talking to them, letting them know the benefits of membership, and giving someone who they can talk to and ask questions to. It provides a lot of value. The other spot that we really like to man is inside of our vacuum area. We like to have people out there. So that's checking wash quality. They're another eye on to see if something's not working quite right in our car wash, and then addressing it with the customers right away. It builds a lot of credibility with your customers when you say, hey, I noticed this didn't get as clean as it should. Please go right back through our car wash and get that fixed today. We don't want you to leave with a dirty car.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's interesting about the tellers, the kiosks, the same sort of thing that I think we've been seeing kind of common across the industry now, is there are places where automation and sort of replacing labor makes sense. And I think that's one area where it looked like operators thought, here's a great chance to save on some labor and still be able to sell unlimited memberships. And I think what the reality is, like you're saying, I think a lot of operators across the country are seeing the same thing, that actually that doesn't do what people do. That's a place where people are probably going to perform better than a machine. Now, there are a lot of other areas, obviously, you can automate and move to relying on equipment for those sort of things, for the actual cleaning portion of it. But that's one area, I think, again, like you mentioned, it really helps to have somebody there engaging with customers as opposed to being self-guided or allowing the customers to handle that themselves.
Yeah, 100%. It makes a world of difference. We can take conversion rates from low single digits to well over 20% just by putting someone up at the kiosk and having a smiley face and having them ask. That's it. It's not secrets. It's just literally have someone there positively engaging with our customers and asking.
How do you balance throughput and speed with the actual wash quality itself and maintaining a strong quality when you're also focused on volume?
There are limitations, right? But with the equipment that we have in our large location, I feel confident pushing 200 cars an hour through a tunnel without wash quality drop off. Obviously, there's a difference between customers that are members and washing their car on a weekly basis and people who don't wash their car for a few months and come in with just a hammered, dirty car. But that's kind of where having someone up the front to see that when that happens and let them know, hey, today you may need to come through a second time because we're only going to get your car 95% clean 95% of the time. In Alaska, During the summer, it's the fronts of cars, and during the winter, it's the backs of cars. So during the summer, I'm going to up my chemistry on my front bumper to make sure I'm putting enough high pH on there to break down bugs. And it's the main focus. But that's only a small part of the year. Rest of the season, I'm going to pull some of the high pH from there, put it on the rear of the car to knock off the rear ends, so then they can come all the way clean, because it just how the dirt and mud tracks on the back of cars, it gets stuck on there. For reclaim, we during our busy season, we just, of course, we're getting a lot more dirt through there. We've started utilizing some bacteria that can help break down any of the polycarbons that are just coming off the road, because we just have some background oil in the Alaska market that has to get taken care of, and we don't want to be putting, dirty water or unclean dirt right into any disposal facility. So we've been working with some different products in order to break those things down and get rid of them.
For reclaim itself, where are the areas that you find in the reclaim water to be most useful? Where do you guys really see that it's a water saving for you? Where are the areas in the tunnel that you're using it the most?
During our high pressure sprays. So especially any site that we have that doesn't do prep, right? We have multiple high pressure arches, and that is an adjustment that we make from summer to winter time. During the winter, when you got to knock snow and ice off, water volume is key. So all that is reclaimed water. We're just pushing 30, 40 gallons of reclaimed water onto cars in order to break away the snow and the ice off of vehicles before we can actually hit it with some chemistry and start doing the work.
For RO reject as well, is there an application that you find that to be most useful, or how are you guys preserving that side of the water? What areas are you using that as well?
For reject, I really like to throw it in prep guns, or we will also throw it in some of our high pressure units, especially like the top blasters. So things coming over to the top of the vehicle, just it gives a better appearance to the customers. One, we have the water, let's utilize it for where we can use it. And two, if I can put reject on top, it doesn't look like I'm spraying dirty water on a car compared to the side blasters. All right, we have a little bit of dirt mixed into there. It's reclaimed water. We know what we're doing. But if you spray it on top of a car, it may not give the best appearance.
So just kind of more generally, if you're talking to operators who are looking to scale and scale reliably, is there one piece of advice or one area you'd point to say this needs to be your main area of focus first? Before anything else, you have to have this in order to make sure that you're scaling reliably, or, duplicating your results at another site.
I mean, it's standardizing practices. You have to have SOPs for most situations. Obviously, you need smart, dynamic people, managers that are going to think on their feet and make adjustments as necessary. But simple things like cleaning your tunnel at the end of the night, how to do your preventative maintenance programs, those all can be documented, put forth, and then you can get repeatability throughout your industry. I mean, right now I'm at 6 locations, and we started at 3 when I started with this company, and that's the smallest market that I've been in. But when I was out in the Midwest, I had 37 locations I was overseeing, and I could do a quick check, just looking over the documents. Okay, they all did their PM this week. These are the issues that we saw. Let's get this over to our maintenance team and address these things and move forward. Where if you don't have that, you're just going to be spinning your wheels everywhere, trying to figure out the same or solutions to the same problem you've run into 100 times.
Along with that too, then, in terms of standardizing equipment across locations, I assume for the most part that you guys have done that as well. You have standard equipment packages that you're running across all locations, or certain pieces that make it easier as you navigate through that as well.
We're fairly standardized. We do have a mix of different things, just testing different stuff in the Alaska market and what's going to hold up to the climate that we're working in. It is the most rugged, rough climate that I've ever actually worked in. Down in Arizona, I could run Sonny's conveyor and get 1 million cars off a log chain, no problem. Up here, not quite. Yeah, not even close.
When you're looking at equipment itself, if you're standing in front of a piece of equipment, and you'd say, here are 3 things that I would qualify that say this is a good piece of equipment or this is a piece of equipment that I would rip out tomorrow? Are there certain things that you look at and say, I wanted to do these 1 or 2 or 3 things? These are the most important for me in order to, to keep my wash running and for me to say that, yes, this is a good piece of equipment that I'm working with.
So number one is the frame of it. If we're not running with stainless steel, it's just not going to last in this environment. I've used aluminum in the past. It worked good, like I said, down in the Southwest. As soon as you start moving north in the country, it's got to be stainless steel. Otherwise, it just starts falling apart and staining super fast. The next part is going to be, it's just mechanical action. I mean, that's a pretty broad statement, but your shocks, your air cylinders, your motors, like how fast are we burning through these things compared to other equipment? If they'll last for me and actually run through, they can run up to, 150 cars an hour, no problem, and not break down every month. Great. That's the kind of equipment that I'm looking for. If I'm constantly having to replace the same part on a piece of equipment, I'm either going to find a new part or I'm going to find a new piece of equipment.
When you look around, you look across your sites, everything that you're doing, is there something that you point to say, this is my favorite part of the day, or this is my favorite thing to do within a wash, or this is what gets me most excited about going to work each day, which actually could be 2 different things? Is there something that you say, this is what I enjoy the most in the wash aspect of it, and this is what I enjoy most about what I'm doing?
So it's super satisfying to me when I get to watch a very clean car come out the end of the tunnel, and I know that it has to do with all the checks we've been doing. And I love that part of it. I like figuring out difficult issues too. That's kind of just where I lean towards. So on the wash side, it is being able to see a consistent product all the time that makes me really happy. Just knowing the difficulties that go into doing that in this market. The thing that I really love the most about my job, I love working with people. I would say that's my favorite part of working in car washing is just the different personalities you get, the young individuals you get to help grow. It's very, very rewarding.
You have sites there that I know are running that are prepless. I know obviously there's points when you're going to be prepping as well, but for operators across the country who say, like, there's just no way I can't prep here, what would you say to them about, the way you guys handle that? And I know some of those sites, I think some of those sites were conversion sites. I'm assuming you're probably prepping at some where you took it away. So in terms of dealing with the customer expectation side of it, of the customer now not getting that prep and thinking, I'm losing part of my service because this is what you used to do for me before. And then for you as well to deliver the same quality. How do you approach those two topics? Again, for an operator that says, yeah, I have to prep. There's no way I can stop.
It's amazing what high pressure water can do. So that will help you get away from prepping and really working on your chemistry, and the amount of savings that you're going to have getting away from prepping is definitely worth the investment on that side of it. Customer conversations, it's always training up our team on what we changed, what we're offering, why it's different, and how we've made our services better in order to compensate for the lack of prep. And then if we have the ability to offer them a little bit of something else or something they can see that's different. So when they see more brushes inside the tunnel, or they do see the high pressure water, and we say, hey, we replaced that with this, and that's why you're getting this. I did have one site, didn't have vacuums before we got there. I want to say that was probably the easiest one for us to take prepping away, was now they have vacuums. Hey, we don't prep anymore, but we have vacuums. We're exchanging it for something else. The customers have to know what they're getting with what they're losing. And you're going to have some people that are kind of set on the fact that, like, hey, it's not as good because they don't see everybody scrubbing the car how they used to scrub the car. But if once they start seeing the results and you ask them, like, hey, was your car clean today? If it's not, let's get that fixed. We can get over top of that objection.
So you just mentioned there, adding vacs where you didn't have them before, those kind of changes. How important is it, both for the wash itself, but for your customers, for your employees as well, to see reinvesting in that business itself. So whether it's upgrading equipment, whether it's adding, like you say, adding vacuums, those sort of things. How important is that to show the people around your business, that you're committed to kind of delivering the best product possible?
Well, just what you said, it's super important, because if we're progressing and growing, people are going to want to align with you. They want to be part of the latest and greatest things. And our employees, when they see us do upgrades in the car wash, it makes them more proud to be there. And when they have to have a conversation about, say, we removed prep. Yeah, we removed prep, but we added these things. Makes them feel much more confident in having those conversations and being behind it. Where, I've seen operators before just take things away and not give their employees anything to say. And they're basically throwing them to the wolves. It's like, yeah, it's going to be a rough conversation. Go ahead, handle it. But let's give them a little bit of ammunition. Say, all right, yeah, we took scrubbing the fronts of vehicles away, but do you see these 2 contour brushes that we put into our tunnel that are going around the front part of your vehicle now? And how's the wash quality today? And if it's anywhere near it was before, we talk about the speed and investing back into our customers that say, hey, we understand there are some car washes out there, or there are some places you can go where you can absolutely sit in line for an hour, but we want you on and off our property, or have the ability to be on and off in 5 minutes. From the time you pull up in line to the time you exit that tunnel, you can be gone.
Also, if you're taking prep away, it doesn't necessarily mean you're eliminating those positions. It could mean that you can remove one person, but it also then allows you to reposition the staff that you previously had doing that into sort of more sales-focused roles or more customer-focused roles. So have you seen that as well? Is that something that you guys have done and seen that, that labor is better served different places?
Yes. Those are the 2 biggest ones, is making sure you have your tellers, making sure you have your vac attendants. The vac attendants increase the level of customer service substantially. When you just have someone walking around there, depending on your car wash, if they offer towels or not, just offering them some of those, telling them about the air guns, how they actually function, making sure their wash was good for the day. Some people don't want to engage with you. Many people do, and they're happy to let you know. And then we get a solution for them. And they've given us now the ability to solve it, where many of the times those customers aren't going to tell you. They're just going to leave and may not be 100% happy. And that's one of the worst fears of any operator, is that we have a problem with the car wash and no one's letting us know. So it's a huge benefit to have someone out there in the vacuums just checking on quality, asking our customers, how was your wash today? Looking at the cars.
Yeah, I think that's, the worst thing, or not the worst thing, but we don't want to have to have happen in that situation is it's a customer who, isn't necessarily going to be the loudest and tell you they're unhappy, but what they're going to do is go home, they'll tell their friends, they'll post it on, they'll post a Google review that says, here were the issues that they had there. So again, like I said, smart to be able to nip that in the bud and make sure you're checking every step of the way. Hey, are you completely satisfied with what we're doing today? How can we improve your experience? So, huge value to be able to, those kind of areas too. I think it's easy to ignore a vac area, especially for people who are offering free vacs that, that aren't requiring a purchase of a wash, to say, anybody's going to use these, and whatever, this isn't what's actually driving revenue, but it's all plays into, one, the standard you have for your wash, for your brand, and 2, again, in helping create the sense of clean. That's what you're selling. So in those areas, and helping convert those people to actual customers, even if they're not using you at the time, more likely than not, if they get a good experience just vacuuming out their car, they're going to come there when they decide, if and when they decide to wash.
Yeah. And as we move them to different spots, like I mentioned, we do our 2-hour checks. We're constantly working on things in the back room. It frees up labor to do more of those things as well. So we like to say we keep our car wash cozy, clean, safe, orderly, and inviting at all times. But when you don't have the labor to get there, or you're super swamped for the day, it's a little easy to let things go. But if we pulled some people from a different area and have them just stationed on keeping our site cozy, it works out pretty well.
So just kind of a more broad question here, when you look at the time you spent in the industry, and let's say even in the last 5 or 6 years, what are some of the biggest changes that you've seen, and what are some of the big changes you expect in the next handful of years too, going forward, 3, 4, what you expect to see from operators in terms of, technological changes, operational changes?
Well, we've always talked about having memberships, but I think the drive towards memberships has increased substantially. It used to be, hey, we have this thing and we're okay if it's like a 50-50 wash or members to non-members, no big deal. It's just some additional revenue that we're making and a little bit of guaranteed. And I know some operators have even shied away from it just with the idea that, hey, it might be a cab driver, an Uber driver who are washing their car pretty much every single day. Where now we've moved to, I want everybody to be a member. And that helps out so much more. If you're trying to expand your business, you're showing consistent revenue on a monthly basis. And that's probably been one of the biggest changes. Plus, the industry seems to have just kind of grown a lot. There's a lot more options for everything. I remember back when I started, we were still using chem buckets in the back room and flow jets. And now everybody has some kind of a dispensing system in the back with injectors. And that was a big change. I like seeing that. It's so much easier. I would say, I think we're moving away or towards less RFID stickers and more towards an app-based system. I know there's been a few companies out there, I'll just say Tommy's off the top of my head, that now have an app on the phone that you can manage your membership with ease right from there. It's across many, many other industries, not just car washing, that they're able to do that. And if we don't move to that, I'd be very, very surprised that the whole industry moves towards that side of everything.
From the unlimited standpoint, what do you guys do, or what do you see as the most beneficial when you're catering towards that unlimited base? So I guess two parts of that question. One, how do you find it's easiest to convert people from, single washes to a membership? And two, once they become unlimited members, what are you doing to make sure that they stay members?
All right. So dive into the first part. How do we get new members? I mean, simple as manning the kiosk. You just have to get people out there, give them a base level script on what you want them to say, and then let them adjust as needed, because if someone's good at it, they're gonna know what to say. And really pushing the benefits of the cost savings on having a membership compared to doing the free car washes all the time, or not free car, but single car washes all the time. I got an easy sell up here. We're hitting our peak season breakup, as you've heard. Like, it is, they're going to need to wash their car by the time they drive home. So that's an easy sell for us. During our summertime, it's a little bit rougher, but still, you just give them the reasons why they might be back before the end of the month. And as long as they're washing their car 2 to 3 times in a month, it makes sense to have it. And usually we'll give them a deal when they first start. So it's not a free month or anything, but hey, they're going to get a discount on it, pay the same as they would for a regular car wash, or maybe a little bit less. And now they get to try out a membership. We obviously know, we have no obligation with keeping with us. Obviously, it's set up as a automatic recharge, but if people want to discontinue it, they can discontinue it. It doesn't have to be a long-term contract like some gym memberships that I'm sure we've all signed up for at some point in our lives. The retention side of it, number one, is keeping up the wash quality, making sure that they don't have poor experience consistently. Because a lot of times people will give you a break if they come through once, regular members, and there was an issue, especially if you're able to engage with them and take care of it. But if you have a consistent wash quality issue, I mean, as a consumer, I would go and try and find a different vendor. And we always still want to have some level of engagement with our members. So for our market, we're loading in every single one of our tunnels. We have someone in there that's going to smile and wave to them. So they're at least going to have that positive interaction. I've talked about having vac attendants. If they pull to the vacuums, I'd love to have them a touch point there. But even when they're going through the kiosk, the very minimum we should do is smile and wave to every single one of our members that come through. Our attendant is not currently working with a different customer. They're trained to this point to go over to them, engage, and give them a dash wipe. Some people have dash wipes, air fresheners, those kind of things we like to hand out. We do. And so I want our members to know that, hey, you guys can get these anytime just by being a member. We're going to give you a dash wipe. We'll give you a cheap air freshener. It's a little bit of advertising for us, and it makes the people feel good and feel valued.
If somebody was talking about Sudzy Salmon, what would you want them to say about that brand? What would you say is the summary of what you guys are? What is it that you look at and say, this is what I strive for. This is what I'm most proud of. This is what I'd want them to think about this brand and about our wash and about what we do.
It's best customer service in Alaska. Just that simple. Like, everybody here is going to be smiling and greeting you when you come on the property. It's fast. So smile, wave, good customer service. We're going to respect their time, get them out of here as fast as possible. Like I said, other car washes may not emphasize the customer service as much, but we really do.
All right, Shane. Well, again, thanks so much for doing this. I think this was great. I really appreciate you joining us and providing your insights. And, I hope everything keeps going well for you guys there, and good luck as you go through your breakup season there. And hopefully you guys come out on the other side, shining and clean like always.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dan.
All right.
It was my pleasure.